Thank you. Did everyone get the empowerment sheet? Those are the extras. Ma'am, do you have the extras?
Okay, so we're gonna get started, and I'm just gonna take a quick phone call. Okay, is that all right? Hello? Yes, this is Cheryl. I'm sorry, who's calling? Fear and self-limit? I'm really in the middle. Yeah, but I'm in the middle. I do want to become an international motivational speaker. Yes, you're right.
Sure.
Yes, I do want to impact lives globally. I understand I don't have a PhD. I know I don't have a master's degree. Okay, can we wrap this? Yeah, you're right about that. I am a little black girl from the projects of Baltimore City. Yeah. Who's going to listen to me? I'm not really sure. Yeah. You're right. You make some good points. Okay. You're going to call me back tomorrow? All right. Same time. Okay, I'll talk to you then. Bye. Does that sound like a conversation that anybody else other than me has ever had? Raise your hands real high so I can know I'm not by myself. Real high, I can see armpits. High. Yeah. Sometimes the dialogue that we have internally is like a phone call that we're getting every single day to remind us of all the reasons not to walk in our greatness. And when we get stuck in that negative internal dialogue, we get stuck in a place called want. I sure do want a different life. I sure do want a successful business. Boy, do I want prosperity and abundance. I want to create a legacy that will long outlive me as a person. I want to be able to affect and impact lives across the globe. I want to be able to build generational wealth for myself, my children, my grandchildren, and their children's children. But until you make the decision, the intentional decision, that you're going to disconnect the conversation that's going on, that's focused on negative and what you don't have, you will always be in a place of want. So I'm here today simply to shake you up a little bit, simply to remind you that you have what it takes to build an empire, that you have what it takes to take your message globally, not just here in your zip code. See, I decided 4 years ago that I was going to do something different. I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know how I was going to get to the place I wanted to be. I didn't know how I was going to create generational wealth, but I knew it was not connected to me punching a time clock. And so I started literally out of desperation. Now this is what you have to understand. I'm a wife and I'm a mother of 3. I have a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 9-year-old. My 9-year-old is a daughter. She's about to turn 10 on Monday. And I can't believe I'm going to have a tween. Like, really? Am I ready for this? I need therapy just for that. And then my boys are 6 and 7, but they're 10 months apart. let that sink in for a moment. 10 months. Yeah, I didn't know that was possible either. I have become the poster child for yes, it's possible. So imagine you go to the doctor's office and you have this baby and the doctor looks you over and says, oh, Miss Wood, you look great, everything looks great, baby looks great, by the way, congratulations, you are expecting. And I said, expecting what? I was expecting another baby and I had a baby. Fast forward, that just became my life and now I wouldn't change it for the world. But with that, my husband and I, we came into a space where all we were living for was to punch a time clock. So my typical morning was, I got up at about 4:30, maybe 5, and I rushed to get the kids ready. And he's over here getting that one ready, and I'm over here getting this one ready because I needed to be out the house and sitting in front of Before Care. Anybody know about Before Care other than me? Okay. Before Care by 6 o'clock in the morning. Like, I mean, I'm in the parking lot waiting for the staff to get there and talking about, you 2 minutes late. I gotta get to work. Then I'd rush off to the job, knowing I'm gonna be at a job that didn't fulfill me, that didn't nurture my spirit, that literally I was just doing it to get a paycheck.
Amen.
I did like the direct deposit. That was nice.
Really nice.
We can't think about that. That was nice. But I do that during the day so that by 6 o'clock I could then rush back across town to rush to the school to pick up my kids at aftercare. And all I really wanted and desired was to be able to hold my baby's hands and walk them to class at 9 o'clock. And to be able to come back to school at 3 o'clock and to greet my babies. That's all I wanted. And I didn't think I was asking for a lot. But as long as I kept having that conversation with myself, as long as I refused to disconnect that conversation, I would always do that same thing. Has anybody in this room ever been in a place where you have become comfortable being uncomfortable? I hope you really understand what that means. That means you're uncomfortable, but you ain't uncomfortable enough to do something about it. Right. And you stay in a place of want because you allow the self-limits to settle in, and you remind yourself, and you replay it. It's like you record it, and then you replay it internally every single day. I'm not good enough. I'm from the projects of Baltimore City. Who's going to listen to me? I didn't go to school to be a speaker. How am I going to become a national speaker, an international speaker, a Les Brown, a Tony Robbins? How could that possibly happen for me? How am I going to live without direct deposit every 2 weeks? How is that possible? But I'm here to say it's possible. And if you're willing to trust in God, but not only pray, put the actions with the prayer, it's possible. Faith and prayer without works is dead. It's dead. It's a beautiful thing to talk about. It's a beautiful thing to come into a room like this and celebrate what it means to nurture your possibilities, but it's an entirely different thing to put in the work. It's an entirely different thing to know you want something different and be willing to go to that job all day during the day, do what you have to as a wife and as a mother, and then stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning because you know you must nurture this possibility over here. Yes. See, that's different. And most people don't have what it takes to do different. Most people will not invest in themselves to do uncomfortable intentionally, to do unfamiliar on purpose. What? You're going to do something uncomfortable on purpose? I'm not understanding that. And most of the people around you will never get it. They'll never get it. And so they cannot pour into your vision. They can't support your vision because they don't get it. So what does that mean? That means you have to accept responsibility for what you want. If you want it, I can't give it to you. You've got to give yourself permission to go out and get it. So each of you have a handout. And I want to make sure that I give you some great content. I want to share some stories about my journey. I want you to understand what it really means to break self-limits, not just to build 6 figures. Because some of you in here, you're like, well, Cheryl, look, the 6 figures sound real good, but right about now, I just want to replace my income, my full-time job. I just want to stop punching the clock. So maybe for you, it's just getting $60,000 a year, or $75,000, or $120,000. Maybe it's not even the big number. I don't have to be a millionaire. I just don't want to punch anybody's clock. Maybe that's where you are. Whatever space you're in, it's okay. It's okay. Just know what it looks like for you. Your vision of success is not mine. Your vision of success is not mine. It's yours. It belongs to you. So the first thing you need to know is that there are 3 types of self-limited entrepreneurs. That's on your sheet. And I want you to write it down. Number 1 is the busy bee. The busy bee. So this is the entrepreneur who you are just, woo, you're everywhere. People are like, girl, you're everywhere. That's what people used to tell me 4 years ago when I started my business. You're everywhere. You're all over the place. And that made me feel good. But what they didn't know is that I was still broke. Ever been busting your butt, but you're broke? You everywhere, networking, smiling, putting on the makeup, putting on the high heels, but you're broke? Because you are not intentionally placing yourself in the places you need to be that will help you to leverage your connections to get the wealth and the abundance and the prosperity that you deserve. Are you the busy bee? Are you the busy bee who is breaking a sweat, but you're going nowhere? It's like you're running on the treadmill. You know you run on a treadmill? Yeah, whoo, girl. You convincing yourself that you have done so much, but nothing has changed. So it's almost like marching in place. If I do this here for the next 30 minutes, y'all gonna see some sweat drip down my face. And I'm gonna convince you that I'm doing something. Like, did you see her, girl? She was breaking a sweat. But that's all I'm doing. I gotta do this. I gotta march forward in my journey. So are you the busy bee? Number 2, the hoarder. The hoarder. What's the hoarder? The hoarder is the entrepreneur who goes to every conference, every workshop. You're chasing every coach, every mentor. You're getting every book you can get, but you ain't doing nothing with it. Oh, the information feels so good when I get it. So I chew, and I chew, and I eat some more, and I chew, and I chew, and I eat some more, and I chew, and I chew, but I never digest. If you don't digest what you're taking in, what you're learning, you will never get to your 6 figures. Or whatever your number is, whatever your goal is, you will never get there. You've got to chew, and you've got to be willing to take a step back and allow it time to digest. What do they tell you when you're trying to have a lifestyle change in eating? It's like, don't eat after a certain time. You know, you need to give your body time to digest your food. Like, that's the normal process. You can't eat another meal on top of a meal you just ate. If you haven't let this meal over here digest. So what that means is you've got to be willing to get laser focused on one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Sometimes we get so spazzed and we put ourselves in a place of overwhelm because we have 50 ideas going on in our mind about what we want to do with our business, but we will not laser focus on one. So what happens? Then you drop the ball and you do nothing with any of the 50 ideas. But you're complaining that you're still broke. You broke and focus don't go hand in hand. But if you focus on accomplishing, executing one thing exceptionally, you will get to your 6 figures. Let me explain what I mean. So when I did start 4 years ago, I was still working a full-time job, still had the responsibility of a wife, still had the responsibility of a mother of 3, and I decided, look, until I do something different, I'm not going to get different results. I can talk all day about generational wealth and not want to punch anybody's time clock, but until I do something different, ain't nothing changing. So I decided I was going to start a little business. So I started a little business. It was called Moms Are the Best. It was a t-shirt business, a mommy t-shirt business. I've always had this thing in me where I love inspiring other people. I love motivating other people to see the greatness within. Because the worst thing that we do is talk so bad to ourselves. Like I want people to get out of that mood. And so what I did was I started this t-shirt business, and I would go out on the weekends. Now remember I told you I felt like I didn't have enough time as it was, and here I go and start a business on the side, and now I'm gone on the weekends. My husband thought I was crazy. You gonna do what? What? Just go get the paycheck. No. Take that as a nugget. Sometimes other people can't support your vision because it's not theirs to understand or support. Sometimes you're going to be the only one feeding you and feeding your dream. And you've got to be okay with that. So I start this t-shirt business. I go out on the weekends and I'm selling t-shirts, and sometimes I go and I literally sell one t-shirt. And I'm saying to myself, Lord, now how this going to work? How am I going to go back home and tell my husband I've been gone for 6 hours and I came back with one $20 t-shirt sold? So now I've given away my time and I've come back really with nothing. That can be discouraging. But how bad do you want it? I wanted it bad, so I kept pressing, kept pressing, kept pressing. And as I would be there selling the t-shirts, what started to happen was I started to realize where this was really going. It wasn't about the t-shirts. Women who needed someone to hear them were coming to me to get a word of empowerment. What? So they would come to the table looking at the t-shirts, but really they wanted somebody to hear them. Because they were moms just like me. They were women just like me who didn't have a voice at home. And now, all of a sudden, I said, wow, this is something bigger than I think. But if you never do this, how do you know what the opportunities are? That's right. If you never jump, how do you know what's possible? How do you know what's out there? You don't. You will never know. My life is barely recognizable today than it was 4 years ago. I walked away from corporate. But I didn't do it the next day. I didn't do it 6 months after I started the t-shirt business. It wasn't until about 2 years later. Through disappointment, through rejection, through people telling me it wasn't possible. But I believed it was possible. I was willing to break self-limits, to keep telling myself I could do it. And so I kept doing it, I kept doing it, I kept doing it. Even when I didn't understand why I was doing it. Why the heck am I packing up 6 boxes of t-shirts when I know I'm only going to sell one? And I kept doing it, and I kept doing it, and I kept doing it. I convinced myself there has to be a reason. There has to be something bigger on the other side. And one day, I got a phone call. And it was somebody from Morgan State University. And they said, Miss Wood, we've been hearing about you, that you're this mom entrepreneur who's still working a full-time job, but you were determined that you were going to do something different. And you're selling these t-shirts and you're motivating people and inspiring people. And we want you to come and speak at our annual women's conference to teach other moms how to start their own businesses. I said, my last name is W-O-O-D. Are you sure you got the right person? You can't mean me. You can't mean Cheryl Wood. Yes, they meant Cheryl Wood. Break the self-limits and be willing to do the work even when you don't know where it's going to lead you. That was my very first speaking opportunity. And I knew when I got off the stage, even shaking, I was shaking. It's like, Lord, is anybody going to walk away with anything from this presentation? They're never going to have me back again. It was amazing how I felt inside. I knew it was the thing that I was destined to do. Anybody in this room know what you're destined to do? You know. You know inside. Or you're at least on the path to discovering it, but you're just not walking in it yet. Why? Because you're still having that conversation that we had at the beginning. The fear is still setting in. The doubt, the what ifs, the questions. And so what I say is, you've got to make sure that you're willing to take the jump, you're willing to keep putting in the work, and you're willing to allow yourself to be detoured when you don't even know where the journey is really going. Fast forward to the day. I left corporate America. I have grown an international speaking and coaching business. Why? Because I will not quit. And here's something that I want you to, if you're on Twitter, tweet this out now, later, whenever, and put it on, post it somewhere in your house. While I'm creating excuses, somebody else is executing.
All right.
Can you repeat? While I'm creating excuses, somebody else is executing. So if you're in this room and you tell me, well, I'm a single mother, how am I going to do that? There's another single mother somewhere in the world who's doing it. If you're a mother of 3 working a corporate job, full-time corporate job, and you're saying, well, I can't because that means I have to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning working on my business, there's another mother somewhere in the world who is doing it. If you're a man in here and you say, well, you know, I've been doing this job that I know for 25 years, I don't know nothing else. How am I now going to pursue a dream? There's some man in the world somewhere doing it. While you're creating excuses, somebody else is executing. Entrepreneur type number 3, the Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger is the person, the entrepreneur who says, I got this. You know, I got knowledge. I know how to read a book. I'm going to figure this out. And because you only depend on you, you stay in that space. You're not willing to admit that your knowledge will only take you so far. At some point, you've got to be willing to invest in you. Is it a coach? Is it a mentor? Is it a conference? Whatever it is, are you willing to invest in you so that you can get the knowledge you need to take you to the next step? I will tell you, when I first decided I was going to pursue speaking, and I decided to be a coach, I was like, I cannot tell my husband this. And I don't condone not telling your husband stuff. Don't take that back. Don't tell Bishop that. That's not what I'm saying. But I was scared to death because the price tag looked so big. I was like, what? Did you say $5,000 for how many sessions? 3 sessions? I can't tell my husband that. But I knew that the person I was going to coach me had the knowledge I needed. So if that meant I had to give up my Starbucks for a whole month, if that meant I had to take a peanut butter and jelly sandwich to the job I was still on, instead of spending $20 a day on lunch and breakfast, I was going to do whatever I had to do to get that coach. And that was one of the best investments I'd ever made. Stop being the Lone Ranger. Here's another part about being a Lone Ranger. You need community. You need community. You cannot, you will not get to your desired place in business without community. And whether that's through social media, whether that's through people in your faith-based community, whether that's friends, but you've got to be the person who gets on board with having a community, but not just a community of like minds.
Yeah, that's the key right there.
If your goal is to build a 6-figure business and to stop punching the time clock, stop making your community the people who are happy punching the time clock. They can't understand the cloth that you're cut from. Being an entrepreneur is a different cloth. It's a whole different class of folks who are willing to do different things than the people who are comfortable with direct deposit. Make the decision and then go out and find the people who can support you where you are, who will not allow you to give up, who will say, girl, I know you're not trying to turn around now. You came this far. No way. No way. What else we got to do? If you're crying and you say, Lord, they about to turn off the lights. I want to stay an entrepreneur, but this broke thing ain't working for me. You need somebody who will say, what expertise do you have that we can sell right now? Oh, well, I'm good at speaking. Okay, what do you speak about? Okay, I'm good at talking about finances. Okay, do you have experience? Do you have expertise? How many years have you done it? What makes you the expert? Okay, guess what? We're going to host a phone call tonight. We're going to host a teleconference. You tell your friends, I'm going to tell my friends, we're going to get on social media, we're going to try to get 40 people on the phone line, and all you need is to sell 4 packages. We're going to sell 4 packages at $200 each. That's going to get you your $800, get your light bill paid. Do you understand what I'm saying? You need the people who have the same fire that you have for making it happen. I don't have time for excuses. Wow. Excuses ain't paying feeding my babies, or paying my bills. I got to get out and make it happen. So let's go through the 7 self-limits, okay? These self-limits reflect a scarcity mindset versus an abundant mindset. Number 1, I'm a small fish in a big ocean. Who's going to listen to me? It's just little old me. Yeah, I have a message. Yeah, I want to share the message, but nobody's going to listen to me. Or I'm in a saturated market. I'm in a saturated industry. Everybody's a speaker. Everybody's a coach. Why are they going to pick me out of everybody else? Well, guess what? Les Brown getting his money. Lisa Nichols getting her money. Tony Robbins is getting his money, James Malinchak is getting his money, and Cheryl Wood is getting her money. What? Because you cannot believe that just because you have a smaller voice that you can't have a big impact. Look at this room. People I've never met. Now I have a new connection with you. Now, who only knows? Maybe we'll work together. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just become each other's community of support. But you gotta know that whatever your voice is, even if it sounds like this, you can still be putting money right here. But it's a matter of being intentional with where you're spending your time, what you're doing with your time, who you're hanging around, and making sure that you're willing to acknowledge who your real client is. See, you cannot have a voice in a room full of people who aren't your client. Sometimes we just want to say, oh, girl, I got 10 clients. But are those 10 clients who said, oh, I need the homie hookup. I need the discount. Can I get it for half off? Or are they clients who said, I love what you have, I love your message, I need what you have, and I don't care how much it costs. Like I did with that coach. How many of you have ever gone to Starbucks or your favorite restaurant and you go in and you say, I love your steak dinner. It's my favorite. I came 35 minutes just to come to this restaurant. Can I get a hookup? Can I get a coupon? You got some coupons. Can I get half off just because I love what you do so much? Has that ever happened to anybody in the room? Anybody? Anybody? Yes. That's happened to you? You need to come here and teach this class then. You don't generally go into a restaurant or any place of business and tell them how amazing their services and products are and expect them to say, okay, because you love it so much, we're not going to charge you full price. That's the point. They don't care how much you love it. Okay, we'll see you again next week, or we'll see you when you get the rest of the money. You've got to break the self-limit, and that's how you've got to function in business. You've got to be willing to walk away from the clients who are not your ideal clients. Stop just being willing to say, okay, I'll take you on as a client because it sounds sexy. Girl, I got 10 clients. Okay, and you still broke? You still can't pay your light bill? You still can't put gas in your car? Because you're choosing the wrong clients. So you can have a voice. Even if you have a small voice, you can have a voice with the right people. So break that self-limit that you are a small fish in a big ocean. Here's self-limit number 2. I don't have enough. So in the back of your mind, you're saying, well, I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough education. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough resources. I don't have enough people who know me. While you're creating excuses, somebody else is executing. When I started 4 years ago, I had no angel investors. I had no grants. I had nobody who said, we love what you do so much, we're going to put some money in your pocket. For an entire year, I spoke for free. Free. Why? Because for me, it was about getting experience and exposure in my business. If nobody's talking about you, guess what? Nobody's hiring you. If there's no buzz about what you do, nobody's looking for you to pay you for it. I got that concept. I understood that. And because of that, that free was really just an investment. Now, you all know that your time is your most valuable asset, right? So I was investing my most valuable asset into what I believed was truly my future for an entire year. Anybody who had me, I care if it was 2 people in the room. I was going to motivate the heck out of these 2 people. They were going to leave there and talk about Cheryl Wood. They were going to get on social media. I didn't care. And what I know is I don't treat 50 people any different than I treat 5 people. I'm always going to give you 150% of me. Always. But you've got to be willing to stop the negative conversation, the self-limit that I don't have enough. I don't have all these letters behind my name. PhD, master's degree. Well, guess what? I don't have any of them behind my name. But I still get called to speak at some of the top conferences in the world. Why? Because God has already validated me. I don't need human validation. I don't need permission from anybody else. I embrace the gift that I've been given, and I use it. And here's another thing I don't do. I don't diminish it because it makes somebody else uncomfortable. I don't diminish my gift because it makes somebody else uncomfortable. See, some of you have a great gift, great services, great products that can impact lives, but you stay quiet and in the background and diminish it because, well, it makes her over there feel uncomfortable. Okay, she'll get over it. You've got to be willing to have a voice. You've got to be willing to use the voice and stop telling yourself what you don't have and tell yourself what you do have. See, I believe in using what I have. And there are a lot of free resources that you can use to grow your business. Just the other day, somebody asked me for my speaker one sheet. I actually host a speaker intensive where I teach other people how to be effective speakers and get speaking gigs. And one of my clients said, Cheryl, the sample that you sent us of your speaker one sheet, did you create that or did somebody else? I said, I did. Why? Because I used that, created that thing a year and a half ago and it was for free. Guess how I created it? I opened up a blank Word document, I added a colored background to it, I slapped my photo in it, I put some fancy words that made me sound bigger than I really was, and I sent that thing out. Improvise. And got paid off improvise. Because see, what I didn't tell you is that 6 months after I walked away from my corporate job, my husband got laid off. Oh. So now we had no official income. Wow. What? Did we go from 6 figures to broke overnight? What could I have chosen to do? I could have chosen to say, I gotta go back. Well, this ain't gonna work. I have to go back and get punched this clock. No. What I had to do was get creative. Amen. What I had to do was get resourceful with what I did have. See, you may not always have the money right now to create what you want, but you have talent to create something that somebody needs. I don't care what your industry is, there's something that you can create right now and start putting money in your pocket that will cost you nothing except an investment of your time. Be willing to explore what it is and then to use it. Stop telling yourself all the negative about, oh, well, I don't have. No, you have. Number 3, self-limit number 3. It's just not ready yet. Perfection paralysis. Perfection paralysis. You allow perfection paralysis to keep you hostage where you are. Oh, I've been working on this book for a year. Really? I got my book done in 4 months. Why? Because I was serious. I wasn't joking. I knew I needed some money. So I started creating. I get how tired I was. I was like this at the computer. Ooh, yeah, I'm saying. Like, really? Get out of the perfection paralysis mode. Well, it's just not ready yet. Oh, I got to tweak it a little bit more. I just don't. I was telling somebody earlier, I have read New York Times bestseller books that have had typos.
Yes. Yes.
But guess what the difference is between them and you?
They got it.
I just walk off the stage, drop my like they're making their millions while you're over here crying broke because you still waiting for yours to be perfect.
Is that a mouthful right there?
Like perfection paralysis. Get out of that mood. Come out of that space of thinking that it has to be perfect. And this is what I tell my clients. You've got to be willing to divorce ing. Ing is I-N-G. And you've got to be willing to marry Ed. Now, I don't want the guys to get offended. You've got to be willing to divorce ing, I-N-G, and marry Ed, E-D. That means you've got to be willing to divorce all the I-N-Gs in your business. I'm planning, I'm thinking, I'm creating, I'm tweaking, I'm brainstorming still. You've got to come to a place where you divorce the ings and marry Ed. I created. I completed. I executed. I know this is not an ED, but I sold. I put money in the bank. I brainstormed. I networked. I created. I executed. You've got to come to a point in the road where you divorce yourself from, oh, it's not perfect, so I'm not going to do it yet. And you do it, and then You point out your own mistakes. You're like, oh, girl, did you see that error in the book? Lord have mercy, we'll fix that the next time. And you better sell that stuff. Stop playing. My book, when I sent it to the printer, I was all excited, and I published 3 books. I got the book back, I'm flipping through the pages, like, yeah, I'm so excited. I get to one page and it says Power Thought, number whatever it was. But the page is blank. I said, where's the Power Thought? I flipped the page, it's on the back side. I sold them books. I paid for them, I'm selling. And guess what? I get more Facebook inbox messages and emails from people telling me the impact. They don't care about perfection. They care about the message. They care about the impact that it's making on their lives. Are you sharing your impact? Is the question. Are you breaking the self-limits to get to your 6 figures? It's on you. It's your responsibility. Self-limit number 4. I'm passionate, so I'll succeed. Succeeding takes more than just passion. Now, passion is a great thing to get your foot in the door. I get a lot of referrals because I'm passionate about what I do. I love what I do. I mean, I love it. And this is the thing that I believe I was born to do, destined to do, right? But that can't be the only thing. See, sometimes we confuse passion and abundance. Passion and talking about money. If you're in business, then you should be talking about money. You cannot be afraid to talk about money. You cannot be afraid to value yourself and say, oh, that's a premium cost. It's going to cost you this much. And be okay with it. And here's another tip. Get okay with silence. When people call and say, well, Cheryl, we we just love what you do. We really want to have you as our speaker. And this is not to say I don't do anything free, because I still do. I have a limited number of engagements that I do for free. I'm doing this event for free. And I say, okay, they say, well, what's your budget? Our budget is kind of small. So what is your fee? And I say, well, the investment in my program is $5,000 for me to come and do a 60-minute keynote. And then guess what I do? Shut up. Don't say nothing else. I used to be afraid of silence. And so before I gave them an opportunity to talk me out of my fee, I talked myself out of my fee. So I said, oh, it's $5,000. At the time, it wasn't even $5,000. It was something like $750. And I was so scared they were going to say no to $750. I'm like, well, but I can accept an honorarium. I'll work with you. And I'm all fumbling over my words because I'm so scared to let that potential client walk away just to say I have a client. Get okay with silence. And get okay walking away knowing that wasn't the opportunity that was meant for me. If you keep giving it away, if you keep undervaluing, if you keep diminishing the value that you bring with your services and products, you will always stay in a place of want. I want more. I want abundance. I want prosperity. But you'll never get it. Okay? Number 5. I want to help people, but I don't want to sell. I struggled with this when I first started. I really did, because I just wanted to get up and be passionate and pour into people's lives. Like, I was so excited that I had changed my life. I was like, I got to tell everybody. I got to go tell everybody. If I could have went on the street corner and just told everybody, I would have told everybody. I was so excited. I just wanted to tell. I didn't want to sell. But what I learned was, while I was praying to God to help me expand my territory, I really was just fighting that. Because I can't go to the airlines and say, I need a ticket to Africa to go share my message, and they give it to me for free. That means I've got to be making some money so I can work with God to help expand my territory. If I say I want to take my message global, I want to go to Tokyo, I want to go wherever in the world, I've got to have a little bit of cash reserved to be able to make those things happen. So you've got to be willing to sell. And here's the thing, and maybe this will make you feel better, because it made me feel better as I was struggling with that. If you don't want to call it selling, call it serving. Now, this is why it makes it fair. If I come in here and I impact your lives, and there's somebody in here says, that wasn't enough for me. Like, I need more. I need you in my life. And I don't give you the opportunity to experience more of me, don't you think that's a little selfish? So really, I'm serving you. Yeah, I'm going to get paid doing it. But that's not where my passion lies. My passion lies in offering you the next step to work with me because I believe in you. Because I know what it feels like to have the negative conversation. Because I know what it feels like to be broke and disgusted in your business. Because I know what it feels like to be punching the time clock if you want something different. So my passion, the place that it's coming from, doesn't stem from money. But I need the money to help me grow the message. When you get to that place, you're willing to sell. Call it serving if you will, but you've got to do it. Number 6, I can't charge premium rates. Maybe you're thinking if my fees are too high, I'm going to drive myself out of business. No, you're going to drive yourself out of business if you're the lowest thing in town. You don't want to be the lowest person in town. Oh, go to her because she only $100. She only $5. Have you all gone to the store and maybe you're shopping for an iron? Just an iron, a regular iron. You iron your clothes. And you go in the aisle, there's 25 irons. And there's an iron over here that's $9.99. And there's an iron right here that's $39. And there's an iron over here that's $99. And you thinking the $99, they done bumped their head over here. I'm not paying $99 for an iron. But then you think over here, the $9, something got to be wrong with that. I ain't buying that thing because I'm over here next week trying to get a replacement. So sometimes you go kind of right in the middle. Right. Don't be the lowest thing on the market. Just to say, I got some clients. Price yourself according to where you are. Now, when I first started speaking, I could not demand $5,000 for you to come and have me speak for 60 minutes. I didn't care it didn't matter how good I thought I was. I couldn't because I had not developed credibility. So you got to develop credibility. And with credibility comes consistency. Did people consistently see me on the market? Did they consistently see me transforming people's lives where I had proof to show what I could bring to the table? So in the meanwhile, I started over here at 200, went to 500, went to 750, finally got to 1,000, was like, woo, thank you, Lord. Thank you. Kept going, got to the 5,000. Before you know it, I'll be up to 10,000. But I couldn't start there. I had to be okay with small beginnings. Do not despise small beginnings. And I'll tell you what helped me to get through the small beginnings was I would remind myself, if somebody's going to pay me $250 to come and speak for an hour, I said, well, girl, are you making that on your job right now? Are they paying you $250 an hour? Let me tell you, they were not. They were not. They were paying me less than $50 an hour. So I said, how does this take from you if you go collect this $250 for 1 hour of work? You've got to be willing to really walk yourself through it and talk yourself through it. And limit number 7. I tried, but it didn't work. I tried that, but it didn't work. You cannot do anything in your business one time and expect to see results. There is nothing you can do in your business one time and expect to see results. You can't sell one time, you can't pitch one time, you can't speak one time, you can't go to one conference and set up a table and be like, this ain't meant for me because I ain't sell nothing. Guess what? Sometimes I go and give my greatest performance, because speaking is a performance. I go and give my greatest performance and I walk away and I might sell half of what I expected to sell. But I'm okay with that. Because I know I'm not making a U-turn. I know I'm not going backwards. Sometimes I go into a group and I speak and I sell out of everything. People come to the table like, where the books at? They're gone. Where the packages? They're gone. And I smile and say, there we go. But you've got to be willing to keep doing, keep pushing, keep trying, keep moving, keep asking. Sometimes we won't even open our mouth and ask for what we want. We won't even ask for the sale. For the longest time, people didn't know that I coached, that I provide business coaching. Why? Because I didn't talk about it. I didn't ask for the sale, so how can I expect them to buy it? So I want them to read my mind and say, oh yeah, she must be a coach. Right? It doesn't work that way. Are you asking for the sale? And when I say ask for the sale, I do not mean become a sales stalker. Please do not become a sales stalker. There is a balance between sales stalker and sales introvert. Sales stalker, sales introvert. The introvert is the person who does not believe that they have value, so you're not offering your services to anybody. The sales stalker is the person who runs in the door. Hey, this is what I got. Step back. and talk to people based on the value that you bring, and stop trying to pitch a sale, a quick sale. I get more clients based on relationships that I develop than simply trying to sell a quick book. I don't care about the book. The book, a $20 book ain't paying my bills. But if I develop a relationship with you where you know me, you like me, you trust me, you believe I can impact your life, you may come on board as one of my coaching clients. So when you develop relationships for the long haul, instead of just throwing out stuff that you sell, oh, I got this body wrap. Oh, I got this lotion. Oh, I got this financial service. Here you go, I'm the best. Guess what? I can find at least 10 of you within a 20-mile radius. The question is, what makes me choose you? It's going to be my relationship with you. I send out a newsletter, and I encourage everybody to please get on my newsletter. I send out a newsletter every single week. And my newsletter is not about pitching you. My newsletter is about establishing myself as the expert by educating and informing you. See, if I educate and inform you on a consistent basis, you automatically come to the realization yourself that I'm the expert. I never have to come out of my mouth and say, hey, I'm the expert. I'm convincing you through my actions. You know, anybody who's a parent, you say, you tell your kids something. Your kids don't do what you say. Your kids do what you do. They do based on what they see you do, your actions. It's no different in business. Clients will be attracted to you based on the demonstration